Who said, man proposes, God disposes? What was the name of Don Quixote's horse? Questions and answers in University Challenge. University students from all over Britain test their wits and their knowledge. In the chair, Bamber Gascoigne.
Hello, and we welcome back tonight our so far undefeated champions, the London School of Economics. We also welcome their new challengers, who are incidentally our first contestants from Scotland, students from the University of Edinburgh. London School of Economics have won twice already in a row, so tonight, win or lose, they must retire. But the question is, will they retire undefeated, or will Edinburgh knock them out and go on themselves to meet a university challenge next week from St John's College, Cambridge? If Edinburgh lose, we will have two new teams next week, St John's versus Keele University. But now, first of all, let us meet our teams, and first of all, Edinburgh.
Good evening. I'm Bob Wylie from Edinburgh, final year mining engineering.
I'm Tony Oliver, London, studying medicine.
Good evening, Bill MacDowell, Pumperston Midlothian, postgraduate arts, reading law.
Good evening, Christopher Lovelock from Fleet, Hampshire, postgraduate economics, now doing commerce.
Well, the lucky white heather is very impressive, but I hope it doesn't mean that you're too depressed by London School of Economics' past record. But now let's meet the London School of Economics.
Kishore Bhimani from Calcutta, studying economics and government.
Trevor Fisk from Enfield, Middlesex, studying government and politics.
Alan Siegel from London, studying government and politics.
Harry Davis, London, government.
Right, well, we have the same rules as usual. First of all, a starter question offered to both teams, and the first person to signal first can answer it like this. If his answer is right, his whole team tries for a bonus. If his answer is wrong, the starter question is offered to the other team. I must remind both teams if there's any conferring between them on a starter question, which should be a one-man effort, they will be disqualified on that question. But if there's a bonus dispute amongst the team, I'll accept the answer given in by the captain. And the captain for Edinburgh is Bill MacDowell. The captain for the London School of Economics, again, is Alan Siegel. So now our actual playing time tonight, 21 minutes. So let's start the clock. And I have a bonus coming up of 30, and here is your starter for 10. What was the name of the wife of King Arthur, according to
Edinburgh, Oliver.
Guinevere.
Queen Guinevere is correct, 10 points to Edinburgh. And here is your bonus for 30, 3 answers, 10 points each. Poets, pontiffs, and fictional characters have often posed well-remembered questions. Can you identify the people who asked the following questions? Firstly, if winter comes, can spring be far behind? If winter comes, can spring be far behind?
We think Ode to the West Wind, Shelley.
Shelley is correct. Person in Ode to the West Wind. 10 points there. Secondly, what is truth? What is truth?
Beauty is good was one of Keats' things. Keats.
No, it is Pontius Pilate interviewing Jesus. And thirdly, what's in a name?
Shakespeare.
Yes, Shakespeare I will accept. Through Juliet's mouth in Romeo and Juliet. Keats, come to think of it, answered what is truth, didn't he? And truth is beauty, beauty, truth. That's 20 out of the 30 to Edinburgh. I have a bonus of 20 coming up, and here is your starter for 10. Swift denounced the whole human race in his Gulliver's Travels. What was the name of the letter in which Zola denounced the War Office?
London, Fisk.
J'accuse.
J'accuse, his letter to the French War Office, correct. 10 points to London School of Economics. And here is your bonus for 20. The United Nations Charter was based on a philosophic treatise entitled Toward Eternal Peace. Name the philosopher who wrote that treatise. An answer?
Was it Spinoza?
No, it was Kant, Immanuel Kant. I have a bonus of 20 coming up, and here is your starter for 10. What do these words have in common? Pterodactyl, psalm, and pneumatic.
London, Davis.
They begin with P, which is not some.
They all begin with an unpronounced P,
Edinburgh,
correct. Also, they're all derived from Greek. That is 10 points, London School of Economics, and here is your bonus for 20. In the same year, and under the same court, both Baudelaire and Flaubert were put on trial for publishing immoral and slanderous literature. The two works indicted have since been judged their greatest. For 10 points apiece, what were they called?
Flaubert's Madame Bovary.
His Madame Bovary is 10 points.
And Baudelaire was the other one, wasn't it?
Yes. An answer? Nothing from the team. It's his Les Fleurs du Mal. So you get 10 points out of the 20 there, and I have another bonus of 20 coming up. And here is your start for 10 with the team's level pegging. If you travelled from the river most commonly associated with the works of the composer Handel to the river associated with the works of Johann Strauss, and both rivers are famous, in what direction would...
London Davis.
Eastwards.
Can you define a little more besides here? Except northeast or southeast. Choose one or two of them. Northeast or southeast?
Northeast.
No, I can't accept northeast.
Edinburgh.
Southeast.
I'm afraid that has made it very easy for Edinburgh. In fact, it is from the Thames to the Danube, and by no stretch of the imagination does the Danube come north of the Thames. So that's 10 points to Edinburgh, and here is your bonus. 20 points. I'm going to say a word, followed by the first two letters of another word, which means the same or nearly the same. You have to complete the second word. As an example, I might tell you astute, followed by sh, and you would answer shrewd. First one, elementary, si.
Simple.
Yes, and I'm going to hurry on these, they're easy, 5 points each. Secondly, impede, hi.
Hinder.
Hinder, 5 points. Thirdly, infectious, ca.
Catching.
Catching, correct. Fourthly, presume, su.
Suppose.
Suppose is correct for 5 points. That's 20 to Edinburgh. And I have a bonus of 20 coming up again, and here is your starter for 10. Champagne can be bought in bottles of various sizes. What is the name given?
Edinburgh Lovelock.
Magnum.
No, that's not the answer. 5 point penalty to Edinburgh for interrupting. Full question, London School of Economics. What is the name given to the largest size of bottle? Too long. I must cut you off there. In fact, it is Rehoboam. A Rehoboam. I have the same bonus, therefore, coming up. Or rather, no, we'll have a sound bonus next for variety, and it will be 30 points. Here's your starter for 10. What is the popular name for insects which form the order Coleoptera?
Edinburgh Wylie.
Beetles.
Beetles is correct. They are beetles. That's 10 points to Edinburgh, and here is your sound bonus. Bonus question, 30 points, each answer worth 10 points. I'm going to play you 3 pieces of music, and after you've heard each one, I want you to tell me where the action of the music takes place. Right, where does the action of that music take place? Your answer?
Composer, I think, is Mozart.
Yes, I want to know where the music takes
Figaro.
place.
Spain.
It does take place in Spain, correct. I heard you saying the marriage of Figaro. In fact, of course, it's Don Giovanni, but since the answer I wanted was Spain, that is 10 points. That brings us to the end of our first playing time, but you can answer the 2 second parts of your bonus question. Where does that take place?
We think Egypt.
Egypt is correct. It is the march from Act 2 of Aida. 10 points there. And thirdly, this piece. Right, where does that take place?
We think Finland.
No, it's not Finland. No, it's in fact Benjamin Britten, and therefore, as often, East Anglia in Peter Grimes' The Storm Music, off the coast of East Anglia. So that brings the score to Edinburgh 85, London School of Economics 30, and at that point we will give the teams a breather and be back with you in a moment. Hello Now again, and at the moment, Edinburgh is in the lead with the score standing at Edinburgh 85, London School of Economics 30. So at that point, strong partisan reaction from the audience. Let us start the clock again. And here is a start of a 10, and I have a bonus for 20 coming up. So your starter. The traditional birthplace of Apollo gave its name in the days of ancient Greece to a league or confederacy headed by the Athenians. What is the name of the island?
London, Fisk.
Delphos.
No, that's not the answer. Edinburgh, can you take it?
Edinburgh, Oliver.
Hellenes.
No, Delos it is. Near to Delphos, but not Delphos. I have the same bonus of 20 coming up, and here is your starter for 10. What is Britain's largest single import in financial terms? An answer from either side?
London, Fisk.
Raw cotton.
No. Edinburgh, can you take it?
Edinburgh, Lovelock.
Arno.
No, it is in fact crude petroleum. I have the same bonus of 20 coming up, and here is your starter for 10. Oxford is frequently referred to as a sweet city with her dreaming spires. Who wrote those words?
London, Fisk.
John Ruskin.
No, Ruskin didn't. Edinburgh, can you take it?
Edinburgh, Wylie.
Newman.
No, all around the same time. In fact, it was Matthew Arnold. Same bonus then of 20 coming up. Ticklish one is proving, and your starter again. Who was the first heir to the English throne to hold the title of Prince of Wales?
Edinburgh, Wylie.
Edward the Black Prince.
Well, Edward the Black Prince, yes, it's Edward II. Is correct. It's the infant son of Edward I. That's 10 points to Edinburgh, and here is your bonus at last for 20. 2 answers, 10 points each. What force propelled the following vehicles? The rocket with a capital R.
Steam.
Your answer?
Steam.
Steam is correct. Early steam engine by Stevenson, 10 points. And secondly, the Golden Hind.
Wind.
Wind is correct. Sir Francis Drake's ship. That's 20 points to Edinburgh. And I have a bonus again for 20 coming up, and here is your starter for 10. What author said, "Soap and education are not as sudden as a massacre, but they are more deadly in the long run"?
London, Fisk.
George Bernard Shaw.
No, I agree, you might have done.
Edinburgh, Wylie.
Dr. Johnson.
No, it wasn't Johnson, it was Mark Twain. I actually come to think that George Bernard Shaw was strongly disagreed. He'd been in favour of education. Same bonus of 20 coming up, and here is your starter for 10 again. The film Carmen Jones is based on Bizet's famous...
Edinburgh, Oliver.
I'm sorry, actually.
You're not answering that then?
No.
Well, it's a 5-point penalty to Edinburgh, and the full question to London School of Economics. The film Carmen Jones is based on Bizet's famous opera Carmen. Bizet's opera was based on a story by what French author?
London, Fisk.
Gaspar Marché.
No, bad luck, it was Mérimée. I have again the same bonus of 20 coming up. Tremendous run on the starters. Here is your starter for 10. In what condition, according to Lewis Carroll, were the Borogroves?
London, Fisk.
Or Malmsey. Or Malmsey.
I would just accept that. Actually, all mimsy, but since it's a non-existent word, I think Malmsey comes near enough to it. So I'll give you 10 points for that. Here is your bonus for 20. A newspaper started in 1702 was the first English daily, and it later became the first paper to publish a special evening edition, which it did in May 1706, giving the news of the victory at Ramillies. What was it? An answer?
The Spectator.
No, I think we were always weekly, I'm not sure, but anyway, it was the Daily Courant. I have a bonus of 40 coming up again, and here is your starter for 10. Queen Victoria had 4 sons. How many daughters?
Edinburgh, Lovelock.
5.
She had 5 daughters, correct. 10 points to Edinburgh, and he has a big bonus for 40. Many playwrights sign their names as clearly with their stage directions as with their dialogue. Who wrote the following stage directions? A wood near Athens. Enter a fairy at one door and Puck at another. Surely. A wood near Athens. An answer quickly, or I must cut you off.
Shakespeare.
Shakespeare is correct. Midsummer Night's Dream. Just in time, 10 points. I suspect ironical clapping from the audience. Secondly, Lady Sneerwell discovered at her toilet snake drinking chocolate. The author?
Sheridan.
Sheridan, correct. School for Scandal. Thirdly, that's another 10 points. Thirdly, the curtains close. Agatha goes to the window in a somnambular fashion and opens the curtains, disclosing the empty embrasure. She steps into the place which the Eumenides had occupied. An answer?
Shaw?
No, T.S. Eliot. Nobody else surely brings the Furies into the living room so happily. And lastly, spotlight behind gauze reveals a nude in Britannia's helmet and holding a bulldog and trident.
Yes, John Osborne.
Yes, correct in the entertainment. 10 points to John Osborne. I have another big bonus of 40 coming up, and here is your starter for 10. The 117th Psalm begins with the words, "O praise the Lord, all ye nations," and is the shortest psalm in the Bible. How many verses are there?
London Seagull.
2.
2 is correct. 10 points to London School of Economics, and here is your bonus for 40. 4 answers, 10 points each. Give the composers of the following pieces of music named after animals. The Hen Symphony.
Mozart?
No, in fact, it's Haydn. Secondly, the Fox.
Britain?
No, Stravinsky. Thirdly, the Bat. Put your mind in terms of languages in that case. The Bat.
Delius?
No, it's a slight trick question. In fact, Die Fledermaus means the bat, Johann Strauss. And lastly, Le Coq d'Or.
Massenet?
No, bad luck is Rimsky-Korsakov. I have a bonus of 20 coming up, and here is your starter, this time something to listen to. But so listen to it first of all, then I'll ask you the question. Of which country is that part of the national?
London Davis.
United States of America.
Correct. The Star Spangled Banner, United States of America. 10 points to London. Your bonus for 20. Only one of these three creatures would be delighted to meet the other two. Only one would be pleased to meet the other two, and the three creatures are a perch, a barracuda, and an ichthyophagyte. First of all, I want to know which of the three would be delighted for 10 points.
Barracuda.
No, in fact, he wouldn't. The answer, which I'll give you, and you'll have to explain it to me, is that the ichthyophagyte would be delighted, but the second part of the question is, for 10 points, why would he be?
He's bigger.
He's bigger, not necessarily.
He eats both the other two.
But why does he eat both the other two?
He's hungry.
I think, I'm afraid, you're not really close enough to it. In fact, ichthyophagyte does mean a fish eater, which wasn't in your mind when you said he eats both the other two. He is a fish eater, so he can eat any fish. A semantic question. Right, you're a fish eater, yes, so you're an ichthyophagyte. I have a 30-point bonus coming up again, and here is your starter for 10. First, listen to this verse. Edward the Confessor slept under the dresser. When that began to pall, he slept in the hall. What is the name of this form?
Edinburgh Wylie.
Limerick.
It's not a limerick. London, can you take it? Quick, it's too long. It is a clerihue, named after Edward Clerihue Bentley, who invented the form. I have the same bonus of 30 coming up, therefore. Here is your starter for 10. Name one of the two posts which are applied for by MPs wishing...
London Fisk.
The Chiltern Hundreds.
Stewardship of the Chiltern Hundreds is one, correct for 10 points. The other would have been stewardship of the manor of Northstead. That's 10 points to London. Here is your bonus for 30. Many famous English poets have died fighting on foreign soil. I want you to tell me the most famous to have died in the following wars, English poets. Firstly, the Greek Civil War.
Byron.
Byron is correct for 10 points. Secondly, the First World War.
Rupert Brooke.
Rupert Brooke is correct, or I would have accepted Wilfred Owen, and that's another 10 points. Lastly, the Spanish Civil War. The answer? Not so famous, but definitely famous. The answer, in fact, too long, is John Cornford. 20 out of the 30. I have next time a sound bonus coming up again. Here is your starter for 10. If Quasimodo met Richard III, what would be the first thing each would notice?
London Fisk.
The other's hunchback.
Correct, they both had a hunchback, and they would each presumably notice it first. That's 10 points to London, and here is your bonus for 40 to listen to. It brings you almost within striking distance of Edinburgh. I am going to play you 4 pieces of music, all of which were inspired by Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. At the end of each piece, I shall give you a clue, and then ask you the composer's name. Even if you think you know it, I should wait until you've heard the clue before you give your answer. 10 points, here is your first piece. Right, right. His composer described that as a fantasy overture. Who was he?
Tchaikovsky.
Tchaikovsky is correct for 10 points. Now the second piece. If you're certain doing that, will save you time, but the second piece. Right, that was from a modern ballet. Again, who composed it? Prokofiev, correct, for another 10 points. And lastly, sorry, 2 more pieces, not lastly. Right, that rather massive rendering of the Feast of the Capulets came from a dramatic symphony for solo voices, choir and orchestra. Who wrote it?
Rimsky-Korsakov.
No, it's Berlioz. And lastly... Right, that piece came from the overture to a French operatic version of the Romeo and Juliet story. Who wrote it? French opera?
Bizet?
No, it's bad luck, it is Gounod. And now with only 1 minute left and London School of Economics in striking distance, here's a bonus for 25 coming up, and here is your starter. Whose name means the enlightened one who enlightens, or the awakened?
London, Bimani.
Buddha. Buddha's name is that, correct. 10 points, London School of Economics. And quickly, here is your bonus for 25. According to legend, Leander swam across the Hellespont between Abydos and Sestos to visit his sweetheart Hero. For 25 points, describe the means King Xerxes used to cross the Hellespont.
He got boats all the way across and put planks...
That I will accept. He built a bridge of ships. That's 25 points, London School of Economics, putting them just in the lead, and we have time for another bonus of 30 coming up. Here is your starter. At St. Peter's School, York, the boys on November the 5th light a bonfire but burn no guy. Why?
Edinburgh, Wylie.
That's the town where Guy Fawkes came from.
Well, you went to school there. I can accept it's the town he came from. Yes, he went to school there, and here is your bonus for 30, 6 parts, 5 points each. Which famous political events do the following dates in July commemorate, and for a further 5 points apiece, in what year did each happen? First of all, July the 4th.
1776, Declaration of American Independence.
Correct, 10 points. Secondly, July the 14th.
14 juillet, it was the storming of the Bastille to open the French Revolution.
That brings us to the end of our playing time. 17 what?
1789.
That's another 10 points. You're allowed to finish your bonus. And lastly, July the 20th.
July 20th.
An answer quickly. Don't think you look as though you know it. In fact, it was the bomb conspiracy to kill Hitler in 1944. But that brings us to the end of our playing time and brings Edinburgh as the winners with 180 points. To the London School of Economics, 155. So Edinburgh managed to knock them out before they retired as undefeated champions. Congratulations to Edinburgh and to both teams on a very exciting game. Next week, therefore, Edinburgh will meet a challenge from St. John's College, Cambridge. Until then, it is good night from the students of Edinburgh.
Good night.
Good night.
From the students of the London School of Economics.
Good night.
Good night. And from me too, until the same time next week, good night.